Welcome to DES2, Unit 6, Basic Section Views, Section View Worksheet Sketch Tutorial Part 1. And yes, we're going to have another Bob Ross moment where we're doing drawing by hand. If you get frustrated, take a break and go watch an episode and you'll be calmed down. Step 1 is going to be drawing your border. So for this project, you're going to have 4 separate sheets for the 4 separate exercises. And use the grid for scale. And I've sped up my drawing so that you don't have to sit here and watch me draw my border. You could pause the video while you do yours. Man, I can write fast. Make sure your date's Y2K compliant with 4 digits for the year. And for the title, you can just put the figure number. We're doing 4 dash numbers off the same figure in the textbook. Alright, good job. We got our border done. Alright, now to move on to step 2. Step 2 is going to be establishing the front view of our part. And for this tutorial, I am just doing the number 13. You're on your own for the rest, but I figure it's one of the more complicated ones because it has a bent section line in it. So our front view is going to be the circle, and because the arrows are pointing to the left, means our view is going to be placed in the right viewing plane. You need to position it on the paper so that there's enough room for each view. Now this assignment, the scale is twice the size of what it is in the example. So 2 times the squares, you're going to multiply the squares by 2, our overall width and height. Okay, we count 1, 2, 3 squares times 2 is 6. And we're going to size up our front view with a preliminary square made up of 4 dots. So I'm making a dot for where I want the bottom left corner of the view, and I'm counting over 2 grid spaces at a time to account for the scale for a total of 6 increments. Make another dot, and then we're going to count up. And make a third dot. Now we project from the other 2 our 4th corner. And then we find center by drawing an X between them. That will be the center of our circle. And visually it looks like we have enough room to plan for our view. And I'm going to use a compass. You don't have to use a compass, but they are cheap and handy. Make clean circles. You can also buy circle templates, although they don't make, they're not real common in this large diameter. And I'm going to open it up, and because our scale is 2 to 1, I can transfer diameters to radiuses using the compass. So the diameter in our smaller scale will become the radius of the 2 times scale version. and we draw our circle. Unfortunately, I only have a hard lead for this compass, so it doesn't make a very dark line. It's okay for construction, but might be a little hard to show up in the video. Okay, now I'm going to adjust for the next diameter. All right, now we're going to adjust for the boss feature. And we have one last diameter for visible edges, which is the inside of the bore. There we go. So I highly recommend a compass. I think you can still get them at most pharmacy art supplies. And so we've got our large diameters, our next diameter, and then our center bore. Now I'm going to erase some of the construction geometry just to have it less cluttered. Now I'm darkening lines, but I sped up the film, so now I can't draw that fast, but I figured you didn't need to sit there and watch me darken my lines. All right. Now we have some holes to put in. Now the distance between the holes is a bolt pattern, so we're going to count the number of squares. Alright, so we've placed our point for our first hole, and now I'm going to use the compass to inscribe our bolt pattern. And this can be a light line because we're gonna erase this construction line. Okay, there we go. So the center of each hole should fall somewhere on that circle. Now using a small triangle, I'm going to trace what would be the center lines of the part. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer that all the way to the top view. So we'll use that for alignment. And in the opposite axis as well. And I want to transfer that over to the right side view plane, which is where our section view is going to occur. All right, now we're going to establish our first bolt hole. And we need to draw a construction line to find the other two. Using the triangle, we should get the correct angle by using the 30-degree side. And then we flip the triangle and do the same thing for the opposite side. And then we have our second hole and our third hole at the intersection of those angled lines and the construction line circle we drew. Now let's erase our construction lines. Now you might leave these in a real dimension drawing. You might need to come and use that bolt circle to define the hole pattern. But the purpose of this project is to study how to do the section view itself. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that stuff so it's not cluttering our view. Okay, next we're going to establish the cutting plane line. And it is bent. And the first section is of the line is a traditional section view. So our view will be taken from an angle normal to this line. And so now we're going to draw the bent portion of the plane that cuts through at an angle. Okay, the next step is to add the tails for the arrows. And if those tails and arrows are pointing to the left, that means our view placement is on the right. So now I'm going to put in the slot. That's the last visible feature to finish off the front view. There we go. Clean that up a little bit. And now we're going to put in the center lines for the main view. So the center line is on the one half of the part vertically is taken up by the cutting plane line, but everything below it should be a center mark line. And make sure that the little dash doesn't intersect with a feature on the part for clarity. And then we're going to do it in the opposite axis as well. Alright, I'm cleaning off the end of the center line, so it's the correct length. And cleaning up a little mess there. Alright, there we go. We're done with the front view. This ends the first installment of this tutorial. Please proceed on to part 2, where we develop the top view. Welcome.